Well, it is me, Bond. Vagabond. Girl.
So how you miss class, boy?
Girl, if I tell you how I miss class, eh? Girl, I had I stick up my toilet whole morning, I had diarrhea whole morning, girl.
Oh good, better go and buy some Lomotil for you.
Oh.
Girl, that I walking, girl. I think about 2 this morning that I walking.
But you're in miss class, you know, boy. So ready to say.
Ready? We teach so.
We talk about the small intestine.
The small intestine? What was that all, yeah?
What Skittles go tell you?
Skittles, tell me.
Well, boy, the small intestine is a long tubule digestive system that absorbs about 90% of the nutrients from the food we eat. It is given that name small intestine because it is only 1 inch in diameter, making it less than half the diameter of the large intestine. The small intestine, however, is about twice the length of the large intestine and is usually measured about 10 feet in length.
10 feet, Skittles?
Yes, boy.
We are a long way.
The small intestine, while through the abdominal cavity, is inferior to the stomach. It has many folds which helps it to pack all 10 feet of its length into such a small body cavity. A thin membrane known as the mesentery extends from the posterior body wall of the abdominal cavity to surround the small intestine and anchors it in place. Blood vessels, nerves, and the lymphatic vessels pass through the mesentery to support the tissues of the small intestine and transport nutrients from food in the intestines to the rest of the body.
Serious, all that?
Yeah,
boy. And the small intestine is divided into 3 major regions.
3?
Yes.
So,
The duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum.
do the what and do the what?
Not the other day.
Not you. All of it hush and listen, I'm tell the boy now.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
The duodenum is the first section of the intestine that connects to the pyloric sphincter of the stomach. It is the shortest region of the small intestine, approximately 10 inches long. Partially digested food or churn from the stomach is mixed with bile from the liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas to complete digestion here. The jejunum now is the middle section of the small intestine that serves as the primary site of nutrient absorption, and this measures about 3 feet long. And finally, we have the ileum, and this is the final section of the small intestine that empties into the large intestine via the ileocecal sphincter. The ileum is about 6 feet long and completes the absorption of nutrients that were missed in the jejunum.
Wait, I think we're not caught on for it. What is all you know about today? Tell me quick.
Okay,
Fuzzy, yeah.
so just like the rest of the gastrointestinal tract, the small intestine is made up of 4 layers of tissue. The mucosa forms the inner layer of epithelial tissue and is specialized in the absorption of nutrients from chyme. Deep to the mucosa is the submucosa layer that provides blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerves to support the mucosa on the surface. Several layers of smooth muscle tissue form the muscularis layer that contracts and moves the small intestines. Finally, the serosa forms the outermost layer of epithelial tissue that is continuous with the mesentery and surrounds the intestines.
Well, the interior walls of the small intestine are tightly wrinkled into projections called circular folds in the small intestine, greatly increases the surface area. Microscopic examination of the mucosa reveals that the mucosal cells are organized into finger-like projections called villi, which further increases the surface area. Each square inch of mucosa contains around 20,000 villi. The cells on the surface of the mucosa also contains finger-like projections of their cell membranes known as microvilli, which further increases the surface area of the small intestine. It is estimated that there are around 130 billion microvilli per square inch in the mucosa of the small intestine. All of these wrinkles and projections help to greatly increase the amount of contact between the cells of the mucosa and chyme to maximize the absorption of vital nutrients. So Susie, it's your turn.
For me? No, Skittles, Talana.
The small intestine processes around 2 gallons of food, liquid, and digestive secretion every day.
2 gallons?
Yes, boy, 2 gallons. To ensure that the body receives enough nutrients from its food, the small intestine mixes the chyme using smooth muscle contractions called segmentation. This segmentation involves the mixing of chyme about 7 to 12 times per minute within a short segment of the small intestine, so that the chyme in the middle of the intestine is moved outward of the intestinal wall and contracts the mucosa.
In the duodenum, segmentations help to mix chyme with the bile and pancreatic juice to complete the chemical digestion of chyme into its component nutrients. Villi and microvilli throughout the intestine sway back and forth during the segmentations to increase their contact with chyme and efficiently absorb nutrients.
All that point? What else? Tell me.
So once nutrients are absorbed by the mucosa, they are passed into tiny blood vessels and lymphatic vessels in the middle of the villi to exit through the mesentery. Fatty acids enter small lymphatic vessels called lacteals that carry them back to the blood supply. All other nutrients are carried through veins to the liver, where many nutrients are stored and converted into useful energy sources.
Chyme is slowly passed through the small intestines by waves of small muscle contraction called peristalsis. Their waves begin at the stomach and pass through the duodenum, jejunum, and finally the ileum. Each wave moves a chyme a short distance, so it takes many waves of peristalsis over several hours to move chyme to the end of the ileum.
So, did you get that
Oh
information?
my god, oh, that's so helpful. I had diary this morning and I missed class, but all it still teach me everything all better than serious.
Next time, don't eat that doubles, eh?
Next time you don't know that was not.
Stop eat doubles.
If it's one thing we just pay attention in class, you
That
know.
was put real pressure on my small intestines.
Well, you know what I mean now? Tonight is Friday night, so if
Where
you
we
not
going?
borrow,
Borrow.
yes, borrow Friday, Tuesday tomorrow.
Well, we know we work, so there we go.
Yeah.
There you go, there you
There
go.
we go.
Tuesday!